Happy New Year, dear viewers. Unfiltered, the big interview is back this 2025. I am your host, O'tega Ogra, and today we'll be talking with the Director of the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP. You know, a lot of times people say public procurement is the biggest elephant in the room. And Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, basically said this during his 2025 budget presentation to the joint session of the National Assembly. And what did he say? He said, we're going to retool the civil service to be able to meet up with the technical expertise of this administration so that we can deliver, the value that he wants to deliver to Nigerians using that budget. Public procurement, many say, is at the heart of governance. How governments spend money, how contracts are awarded, how transparency is ensured. In fact, when we say public procurement can make or mar any administration, and we've seen many instances in the past, from poorly issued certificates of no objection to poorly scoped projects and awards of contracts, to contracts that are given to people who, maybe sometimes lack the expertise. And Mr. President really understood this. And that was why sometime last year, he appointed Dr. Adebowale Adedokun, to head the Bureau of Public Procurement. He is a public procurement expert. He's worked with the Bureau for decades. He's, done cross-agency work across the Bureau with security agencies, with the public finance institutions and agencies and ministries. And today, I think is in a very good position to be able to speak to us, in depth about his vision, about what he intends to change and the way public procurement is done, and how we intend to see public procurement take its rightful place in ensuring that Nigerians can get, the dividends of good governance, which is something that every single Nigerian has asked for. So today on the big interview, Unfiltered, I would be sitting down with Dr. Adebowale, the Director General of the BPP, to discuss procurement reforms, to discuss leakages in public spending, and how the delicate balance between efficiency and oversight comes to play, in his role. We also explore how he's, implementing certain things. For instance, President Tinubu's vision, going forward, in the next few years, how his office seeks to digitize the procurement system, how his office seeks to also streamline all the processes, as, set out in the extant laws, guiding the Bureau. Thank you very much, Dr. Adebowale, and we're glad to have you here. Mr. Director General, I want to ask a simple question to start. What is the role of BPP, and what are the current challenges you're currently facing since you've come into office? Because many Nigerians hear about procurement scandals. It's nothing that we are happy about, and I know you certainly are not happy about it. Many people talk about a new thing that's come up in the past few years, which is implementation of projects by variation. People on the bid for projects get the projects and start to bring out variations later on in the life cycle of the project, and that puts a lot of pressure on government's, resources. Can you, clearly for the Nigerian people, as simply as you can, break down what your mandate is in the BPP, what your role is, and how you want to ensure that public funds are spent efficiently?
All right. Thank you, Otega, for having me on your show. I think it's a plus to the president for appointing someone who has been grown, built up within the system. I think that is already a mark of success. That already tells you that every challenge that we have seen or highlighted by president and all critical stakeholders has been solved primarily by 50% already, by asking someone who has been taught, groomed, to now take the mantle of the leadership of the Bureau. So certainly, success story has already started by our appointment. Secondly, it also shows that the couple of people I work with, the directors that I work with, are also homegrown, are also people who have also learned through the ropes. So, as it is today, I have a couple of people that will help change the narrative from what the perception of the public has been. So, to be able to address this problem, leadership is the core, which we have. The other problem, issues that you have highlighted, and I'll tell you this way, the problem has already been solved by the provisions of the Public Procurement Act 2007. Clearly. And what are they? It has told us what BPP should do. BPP should, first of all, look at harmonizing all existing policies, set out standards, develop principles, develop core values, look at every sector. What are the challenges in the road sector? What are the challenges in the education sector? And then formulate appropriate guidelines to address peculiarities in those sectors. BPP has a very clear mandate, in addition to what I've told you. One, we're a preventive agency. We are to ensure that governments ab initio, before projects are implemented, can build its chest that this is a fair price, that the cost of this project, when you compare it with other climates, that price is good, is fair, is doable. That's our job. It's just like I have said it severally. If you go to the embassy, for instance, to acquire UK visa, you must fill a form. And in the form, it tells you, provide bank statements, provide your marriage certificate if you are married, get a letter of introduction from agency, show us that you have not been convicted, tell us how long you are going to stay in their country, give us the hotel they are going to stay. It's the same principle that is applicable to us. We're saying, BPP is to say, if any agency of government wants to procure anything at all in this country, our job is to ask them, give us all these documentation. We'll look at them, we'll do a review. Once we see that you have complied, we simply give you what is wrongly misinterpreted, no objection to contract award. That you aim a visa does not mean when you get to the border control, you'll be allowed in. At the border control, if you are found to have falsified information, they will send you back through the next available flight. The same thing with us in BPP. What we're simply doing is to say, you, by your honor, you said you want to procure a 10-kilometer road. Give us all this documentation. We will review them. Once we are substantially satisfied, we'll give you that thing called no objection. It is not an award. It's like a document that will enable you proceed to your agency to get the contract award. So purely, our role is one, regulatory in nature, compliance in nature, and also ensure violations. Anybody who alters the approval we have given, for whatever reason, will be called to account for. So these are basically our core mandate. Also, to educate, public education, public enlightenment, public communication. Procurement can no longer be used as an illicit function where it's for the rich. Procurement is for the 220 million Nigerians who want good roads, who want good healthcare facilities, who want security of lives and property. So procurement for us is a tool, is an enabler, is a game changer that we physically enforce all other stakeholders to perform their statutory role based on our compliance rules and regulation. So when we look at corruption as it's been defined, and they say is attributed to procurement, is a global phenomenon, is a global trend. The difference between us as Nigeria and others, even including our neighbors, Sierra Leone, Ghana, even Dubai that we see, is the level of compliance with the provisions of public procurement, which under President Tinubu now is what we as seasoned professionals want to implement. Once we're able to enforce the compliance level, it reflects in the implementation level, because compliance will tell you, you are the MDA, that is no longer business as usual. That's the real deal. Compliance is to tell you, if you fail to obey what we said, then we will ask you to account. And we have been doing that in the last few weeks. We have been insisting on compliance. And if you check the system in the last few, you see that there's a sudden paradigm shift.
Yes, I actually noticed that.
Simply because the new BPP says, if you don't comply, we will not give you no objection, no matter who you are. You have to comply. So already the system, the people ordinarily will brag. We have people who, in the last few years, get contract as they like. They see it's their birthright. It's no longer happening within just few weeks. They are also saying, look, we know what BPP is doing is correct. Let us comply.
I actually very, very much like that. Because what I'm hearing you say is, one, you're an enabler.
Yes.
But also in as much as you're an enabler for, development and good governance, you're also ensuring that compliance to laid out rules, systems, procedures, and processes. But coming back to that, we also know that people complain that the procurement system, it's a major challenge, takes too long. And I'm also hearing you say transparency, accountability, doing things the right way is also very key. So how do you balance that need for compliance, that need for transparency, with the need to deliver, the critical projects that Nigeria urgently needs?
Okay. So again, procurement has processes and procedures. What we are now doing is that we're asking all government agencies. Remember, the ultimate aim of any procurement in anywhere in the world is value for money.
True.
That value of money means you want to have a good road as at when due. You want to supply duplicating papers as at when due. You want to give Mr. President implementation level of any project at the right time. So what we have designed within the confines of the law is budget implementation timeline. And how is that going to happen? We're not simply saying that you must start your procurement process at the commencement of the new year. In fact, you must have a vision of what you want to do in the next year.
So the planning process
So the planning process, yes, so we're going to change the narrative with 2025 against 2026. You must plan with budget from the third quarter. So it's no longer going to be, oh, suddenly the new year has come, what do we do? We'll start from there. So what does the budget cycle looks like? We're saying whatever you want to buy, whatever you want to procure, you must start and end it by 31st of May 2025. So we have set a timeline. So unlike before that everybody just decides to do it how they like, when they want to do it, we have taken charge. Because President said, I want to have good roads. He has set the vision. The ministries and agencies know this is what President wants. But somebody has to enforce it. And that's BPP. So we're saying between now and end of May, everybody, every chief executive, every government organization, to show the seriousness we're in, we're issuing a circular. It's already on the jingles. We're already running jingles across the country to say, start your process, determine who the contractor will be, how long will that project last, where is the location of that project, where is the contract management plan for that project to be executed, who did the contractor qualify. And we're going further to deploy what we call categorization and classification of contractors, consultants, and service providers nationwide. Simply, you will just, from end of this month, if you don't have a particular turnover, financial capacity, technical capacity to do a job within a particular bound. We will not let you go. And for instance, you can't just wake up a brand new company established last year wants to do a project in billions, except where there's a joint venture. That's another thing. But you can't just wake up and say you want to rub shoulders with people who have the experience, the equipment, the knowledge, who have the muscles, the financial muscles. You want to also bid with the same day. We're stopping that. We're saying no more. We want competitors, contractors of equal competencies to bid. What would that do? It will drive costs. It will help us know the true costs of what that project will be. So these are things that we are putting into place to ensure that those visions, those projects come to reality. So what do we do the second half of the year? We're saying all government agencies should be in the field.
Interesting.
Go and show us the awards that you have been given by your PTB, MTB, or FEC. Go and show us that you are actually implementing. Do you know what normally happens before? People get no objection and keep it. Wow. Probably because the contractor is not their preferred one. It's what we see. Some people wait till December, November, and go and look for certificates of no objection from BPP. Why? So that they will not follow the open competitive bidding and muzzle BPP, and then go out and say BPP is delaying.
Okay.
What were you doing from January? What have you been doing from January? All of a sudden in October. Why? Because you want to muzzle, you want to do things that are
skirts the process.
Yes. And you know what we do? We're injuring this nation, the people of this country, by these unethical practices. I'll tell you why. The market woman, those are the construction sites. The young men who have creativity minds, the opportunities are not there for them because we have closed the procurement to few hands. So by us opening it up and insisting that things must be done between January and end of May, the first half of the year, we're simply now forcing it, we're closing the leakages. So there will be no room for maneuvering. Yeah. And if you fail, we're going to work with Office of Policy and Coordination, ADISA. We're going to be sharing information with her so that when President can also have timely information about performance of various government agencies. So in blocking leakages, you see, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The rules are there. Mine and my colleague is to enforce them. And then I'm sure you'll begin to see results in the shortest possible time.
And that's very interesting. So, two questions. One, I don't know if you can run us through some specific measures aside this, which is very interesting. Mm-hmm. Because what I can say is by putting everybody in the first half of the year, it also means that one person cannot overbid beyond what is capable of doing. Mm-hmm. You know, it streamlines the focus of those contractors that are coming. Okay, they'll go for what exactly they want rather than spreading out their, requests for no objection all through the year, and then the same set of people are doing the same set of contracts. Because I heard somewhere that, we basically have a small pool of contractors who do maybe 80 to 90% of the work in Nigeria. And that's a key man risk, if I may say, even to the country. Because it simply means contractors are overstretched and, other people that have the competence and the capacity might not be able to come in. So it's, commendable what you're doing so far. But I would also like to know, and this is for the benefit of Nigerians, I want Nigerians to be able to say, this is the specific measure that BPP is taking. Okay. This is the specific thing that BPP has done to democratize this process. This is what BPP has done to ensure that public procurement, works. And this is a question you always see online. Many people say our contracts cost more than what it would take in other countries across the world or in many other countries across the world. Yes, maybe true, maybe not true. I would like you to shed more light on that. Is it a BPP inefficiency issue, or is it a pointer to more structural issues? And if some of the things you've done so far has, helped to streamline or, help the government to make savings, please feel free to also share.
Let me start by responding that in terms of projects being assumed to be expensive in Nigeria, I will tell you that it's subjective. It's not true. What are the reasons? A contractor is bidding for a project. He doesn't know when he will be paid. He doesn't know how long payments will come. So when he's submitting his bid, he puts in the cost of delay, the cost of borrowing money, because he doesn't know. In our nearby countries, when they bid, they know that on so dates, if they submit their request for payment, they will get paid. In our own case, in the last few years, it hasn't been like that. So all contractors in this country have this mentality that they need to add more money to cater for the delay in payment. So that's one reason. Contractors provide electricity for themselves. A contractor goes to site, he doesn't have government electricity. So he brings generators, he buys diesel. In the last few months, how many times has the cost of diesel risen? So when you talk about variation, who bear the cost? Should the contractor pay for the inefficiency within the system? He's out to make money. So where does he find the money from? Some of them have borrowed money from banks. That's the reality of the day. How do you sort out the issue of security in the locations? So a contractor also has to provide for security of his equipment and his workers. So all of these build up the cost of project that people think is overinflated. If you remove all these inadequacies, you find that the cost will be fair. Secondly, in the last few years, you have spent more time on selective and restricted tendering. Meaning you've already created room for monopoly. So what are we doing now? We're saying go and advertise. When you advertise, you create room for competition. People begin to trust government. Contractors knows now that it has not been predetermined. So their costs will also follow that track, knowing full well that if I bid too high, the other contractors will bid lower, I will lose. By open competition, you are putting every contractor on his toes that it's better you make minimal profits. But in other methods, you can be sure that because of the closed nest, the cost can be high. So what BPP is doing now is saying everybody go and advertise. That's number one. Number two, we're saying do your procurement planning, where you show us the details of what you will do, when you will do it, for us to be able to do monitoring and evaluation in collaboration with anti-corruption agencies, because we're sharing data with them. Yeah, okay. As soon as a contract is awarded, we share that data with our colleagues, EFCC, ICPC.
So that they can also track.
So they can also track. The another initiative we're doing is to now go digital.
Actually, love to hear about this.
We already started a process of digitalization of our procurement processes. In fact, if you are in somewhere in which part of Sokoto will I say? Let me say
Kalambia,
exactly, or down in Obudu. You don't need to come to Abuja. When we deploy our e-procurement system, and which, by the way, is going to be a gradual thing. We're going to face it.
Okay.
We're going to we started with planning. The next thing is e-adverts. We want everybody in the entire 906-something square kilometer of this nation to be on their phone, just on your mobile phone.
They can come to your website and see
on our websites or any government agency's website, bid for any project that will be put online. So it's going to be mandatory for all government agencies
to
publish all their contracts on our website. It's mandatory to have it on our website. including their own, and 2 national newspapers and the Federal Tenders Journal. But electronically, it will give more opportunities to people. That's one measure. We're also going to strengthen, rather than wait till the end, we're going to deploy tools and human beings to commence monitoring and evaluation of projects as they go on. We're not going to wait, because when you wait, if the data exactly, so we want to start as soon as we begin to see projects being awarded across level. And that thing that we tend to miss is capacity building. A lot of people, and I'll give you an instance, when you gave birth to a child 11 years ago, and you didn't teach the child the basics, and 11 years ago, you're asking him to use tools, AI tools, that you have not taken him through, you are bound to have failures. So we've spent a lot of time in the last few years without properly building the capacity of procurement officers. They are so used to one way. So now we are retooling. We call it retooling. We want to retool our procurement officers to be aware of their roles and responsibilities. And also insist that they sign off on code of conduct. If you misbehave, we'll take the appropriate... and we have been doing that in the last few weeks.
Okay, that's good.
Already, we have been warning. We have been passing warnings.
So are you having any pushback?
None.
Really?
Absolutely none.
You must really have a high degree of emotional intelligence, because it's one thing to democratize access and digitize access, but I also know change management is one of the hardest things, to do. So, that's pretty impressive that you've been able to, get people on board. So it simply means possibly people always knew the right way to do things. They just needed, people to live up to their responsibilities in guiding them towards doing that. And that brings me to something else. SMEs, local communities, and the BPP. Your job as a BPP, in as much as is to ensure that the procurement system goes smoothly, is also to ensure, that you support Nigerian businesses, local content, as some people may call it, But we also know that, and I know you've answered some part of it, a lot of SMEs struggle to win, contracts from the government. But we know that a lot of SMEs also have the capacity to do these contracts. Like you said, they might not be the very, very big contracts, but even, micro contracts, small contracts, they should be able to come on board and say, see, we have the team, we have the capacity, we've done this in the private space. Why can't we do it in the public sector? Are there any specific targets that you set for ensuring that SMEs and, small businesses, local businesses can get, as well as local manufacturers can get, can be part of the procurement process? I also know some years back there was Executive Order 5, which prioritized, local contents in government contracts. So the first question, like I said, what specific measures? And then on the second one, has Executive Order 5 been, has it worked? Or is the procurement system still mostly, taken by the big companies and the foreign companies? So,
what we're doing now is to bring to the consciences of Nigerians that local contractors, this is the best time they have to win contracts in Nigeria.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
This is the best time ever where contractors, local contractors, can begin to have a sense of ownership by the policies we're deploying.
So I can mark this thing that you said now.
Yes.
And
I'll tell you why.
Nigerians.
Yes. Let me tell you.
Because you sound so confident of that.
I know what I'm saying. You know why? All MDAs would have to advertise, and they can put conditions in the advertisement that favors local contractors.
Okay.
It's not left for the MDAs to insert. BPP has mandatory eligibility criteria. It's not left for the MDAs to insert. So we will be making pronouncements that you must give opportunities to micro and small medium male enterprises. We are going to ask you to provide opportunities for women.
Oh, interesting.
We are going to ask you to provide opportunities for those with disability. Let me tell you the latest. We are going to ask that what we call community-based procurement. We're saying even in every community in this country, they should be able to partake in procurement. How are we going to do that? Wait for that details in due course.
Okay.
I'll keep that as something.
Now I'm getting excited. And without saying so much, that takes me to the future of public procurement.
Yes.
And across that, we're talking about decentralization and centralization. Many a times we see that a lot of things are stuck. And for instance, BPP, your office is here in Abuja. I like that you said you're decentralizing it, at least, even if on the digital space. But I also know that every MDA is meant to have, procurement officers, residents there. How do you intend to decentralize your operations in the physical space now, not online, to ensure all the things you said? One, that the MDAs follow through with the BPP Acts, that at the community level or at the state level or wherever, there is sufficient monitoring and evaluation of projects, and the reports are coming back to you, which you can then plug into your reporting mechanism to the government itself, to the president, and all that. And, how do you intend to also pass that message down to the staff of BPP to let them know that not everything has to be done centrally? Because sometimes overt bureaucracy, can
Otega,
bring about inefficiencies.
Let me help you. We've already decentralized.
Okay.
Already. If you see the threshold that we operate, it's clearly there that a government agency or a parastatal has approval limits.
Oh, okay.
They don't need to come to us. It's already there. They don't need to come to us once they advertise. You don't need from beginning to the end.
Okay. Within that threshold.
Within their own
that
threshold. A parastatal has a threshold.
But will you be responsible for monitoring those projects itself? Those projects too?
We are going to be asking you to submit to us monthly reports.
Okay.
All. Every month, submit your procurement reports. Quarterly, all agencies will invite you for a review of your performance of the last quarter. Threshold means you have the power to spend, but follow the rules. It's only when you do not want to advertise that we say come to BPP first and justify why you don't want to advertise. But if you choose to advertise, start, finish.
And by advertising, you mean 2 national dailies on their website?
Yes.
On your website.
Simple. You don't need to come to us. We don't want to see you. That's why we don't need contractors over in our office. We don't need...
Yes, I noticed. I came in this morning and I didn't see... Normally you'd see a crowd outside the BPP office. I noticed I didn't see anyone there.
You can't, because we now deliver to you in record time. You don't need to come because we'll give it to you if you earn it, and if you don't earn it, either way, either yes or no.
Or you will give the answer.
You will give them an answer within 20 days. That's our timeline.
Sorry, did you just say 20 days? Because I know normally it used to take 3 to 6
months. No, that's the past. The new BPP assures Nigerians, all MDAs, if you comply with the requirement as visa, I assure you 20 days.
Do you have any data to support what you're currently saying?
Between November and now, we have reduced delays significantly. When I mean major reduction in turnaround time. And you can confirm this from agencies. In fact, I can go further. Between November and now, there's no documents sitting in our office between November and now that has lasted more than 20 days. That's the data I'm giving to you. You can confirm that.
Wow. So you've... I'm sorry, I'm actually in shock.
That's it.
You know, I always like to tell people that I'm from the private sector.
Yes.
And I know the way things work. And then coming into government, I realize how things could be pretty difficult. So to hear you say this, despite the fact that you've been within the public service for such a long time, it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, that simply means that there's hope.
There is.
You know, in our country and in our public institutions. But what would success actually look like for you?
Okay, success for me and my colleagues, because we're 18, will be in the next one by end of March for president to make a pronouncement and say BPP has changed. That would be the biggest joy.
I'm sure the reports are getting to the president already.
And I want, the second success I want to see, believe you me, is public trust. I want Nigerians to say we trust BPP.
That's a very tall order, considering that there's...
I want them to say, if you go to BPP, you don't need to bribe anybody. And it has happened. We have testimony already. Few people, if you hear my interview on the other day, somebody said clearly from London that he made an inquiry and he was told that it's no longer business as usual in BPP. You can confirm that. You know, another thing about success that I'm looking forward to is to see that you can go to any nook and corner of this country and see clearly projects have been implemented 100%. That is going to be our own success. That our rules have been complied with and it has delivered good governance. That is our own success. And that is what we are looking forward to. And that success that we're looking for is digitalization and technology innovations. We want to begin to generate revenues for government. We want to allow people to come into the space of public procurement. Do you know what? I want private sector who are quoted on the stock exchange to begin to bid for contracts. Quoted companies need to start bidding for projects. If we bring confidence into our system, which we want to do,
then they will come.
They will come. And they will provide competition for non-quoted. So it will change their processes. It will change processes. You get my...
Totally get
it will improve technological transfer. You know what? We will need to beg people to come and do business for us. They will run after us. We have seen it here some years back, where foreign companies make inquiry directly on BPP websites. I say, can this be done in Nigeria? In this same BPP. We are restoring that. That will be our success story. Another success factor we are looking forward to is for civil society, professional bodies, to say to us, there's purely professionalism in the conduct of BPP and even in the choices of contractors, in the manner in which projects are implemented. So there are so many things we are looking forward to as success in the next couple of months.
So thank you very much, sir. And this has been quite interesting for me and eye-opening. I will do something post this interview. I'm going to go and validate some of the things you have said.
Yes.
Because it's one thing for us to sit down here. Yeah. You just talked about trust. I'm a government appointee, you're a government official appointed by the president. Yeah. And we should be able to fact-check ourselves.
Yes, yes.
So I'm actually going to go back and see whether what you are saying is true, so that I can tell the people that are listening that this is what is being done, this is what is being said. Without saying too much, do you have any final thing to say, if anything we've not covered, that you think is important, to be shared with us?
Okay. Couple of things. Also, data matters in this country, and we must emphasize data, use of data. We're introducing to our system price intelligence and benchmarking system. That will enable us ensure that prices of goods and services being rendered is within a reasonable band that can be verified. So that is coming on board shortly. You'll be shocked that within 5 weeks, we have saved this country over 103 billion naira.
Sorry?
Yeah.
103 billion naira.
Yes, that would have ordinarily been filtered away in naira.
Oh, so that's success already.
Yes. Within 5 weeks, we've saved that amount in naira. I have US components, 23 million United States dollars.
Wow.
In 5 weeks.
Wow.
Guess what? In euro, we have saved 115,000 euros within 5 weeks. Guess what? Procurement officers in this country are happy. There's reduction in frustration. Procurement officers, go check these facts. Their mental state has improved.
Good.
Why? Because they know BPP has come back to life. So they are now ready to perform their roles. Do you know what? Anti-Corruption Agency, for the first time in a long while, sees the value of BPP. So they are now happy that they can be sure that we can actually prevent corruption. I know finally, for us, is the service we are rendering. The service I and my colleagues are rendering is what gladdens us. And that is what Nigerians should take from this interview. We are ready to serve them. We are ready to bring out any infractions. We will not hide. And we also will not want anybody to hide us. Where we have failed, tell us. We would own up. And we will defend the integrity of this nation in our procurement processes as we continue. You know, we have collaborators, FRIS, NSITF, PENCOM, ITF. We, through the instrumentality of our compliance level, we're asking that all contractors in this country, all service providers, consultants, they must pay all taxes. If they don't pay, no business for them in public sector contracts. Interestingly, we have supported them. Now they have generated through our own processes, compliance, over 14 trillion.
Oh, wow.
Naira.
Wow.
Through our insistence.
On due process.
On due, that people must.
So you are the new Mr. Due process.
On our own part, we have systems that will begin to make BPP a revenue-generating agencies very shortly. This will add to our GDP. This will give more money to the president to build more infrastructures in this country. And then the whole world will make Nigeria a destination for investment simply by our transparency, accountability, competitiveness, and fairness, both locally and foreign.
I do hope you are documenting a lot of these things.
Yes.
Because it's one thing to do all this, it's another thing for Nigerians to know.
We will.
You know, so issuance of reports, whether monthly, quarterly,
Yes.
as long as people are getting that, because I hear you say trust earlier on, it helps to, rebuild that trust. I know that at every point in time, you are the man for the people.
We will publish on our website. That's what I'm saying.
No, but do you even have like BPP reports that you currently publish?
We have annual reports, but right now we'll scale it up. We'll begin to do quarterly reports, engagements with you and others to show records of our performance. This 2023 annual report, it contains all certificates of no objection issued in 2023. We are working on 2024. Do you know what I find amazing? That even enlightened people don't pick up these documents. If they pick up this document, you can see what ministry by ministry is doing. All you need to do is to pick this and go to the field. Professional bodies can go to the field. Civil society can go to the field. And we'll put it online too.
And track and hold government accountable.
Hold that agency accountable. How many contracts that have received no objection have gone to fake? We are going to track that and show Mr. President that some people have no objection, but they are not processing it. We are going to ask questions very soon. Otega, can I tell you information that you don't have? We have revised what we call standard bidding documents. It's on our website now. We've issued standard bidding document that covers every sector of our procurement, including medical equipment.
Oh, wow.
There are documents. So you don't need to print, you don't need to, just download it.
And what's your website?
www.bpp.gov.ng.
I'll definitely check.
Check. You see them there. So all you need to do is to ask this ministry what's happening to this project that you got no objection from. The next level is that we're going to be publishing fake approved contracts. You know, Mr. President can't be everywhere. Don't forget, I am an advisor on procurement to Mr. President. I am his advisor. I'm to show him what is happening on what he has given ministries to perform. So I'll be giving him direct information and let him ask questions through data and through this publication.
So no more hiding.
You can't hide, please. You can't hide. And we can't hide. BPP can't hide. So can nobody hide. So there are a lot of educational publications we have made for everybody in this country, and we are revising them. We have what contractors must know, what they must know, what their duties and responsibilities are. We have the one for civil society.
Okay.
We have for public observers, CSOs, code of conduct. We have this is the checklist for your visa.
Documentation.
You just the prerequisites that you need. Look at them. They are here. We are going to unleash them again, nationwide, electronically and hard copy. And we're going to give Mr. President and key critical leaders of this nation what you call a monitoring and evaluation dashboard. President will have it on his table. He will see everything every ministry agency is doing at any point in time. Anytime. That thing is being worked upon right now. It's a tool. Do you know what? State governments are coming on board. 36 states. We have a platform where we're discussing on harmonization, partnership, collaboration. Local governments, I've met with local governments, Algon people. We are working with them now to develop policies to implement
the financial autonomy.
Simple. So they've been here asking us to help them, all the local governments. And so we're coming out with policies that will guide even procurement at local government level. We are only providing them with technical assistance.
Like you said, you're an enabler.
We're just enabling for them to perform. That's all. And we're going to organize National Conference on Public Procurement very soon, where we bring countries, both local and foreign, to come and examine our books. We want to showcase Nigeria. It's not bad story in procurement. We have made successes. There are uniqueness in our system that other countries don't know in public procurement. By the way, I presented to 52 countries of Africa what Nigeria is doing in terms of building capacity in public procurement. And it's a model that the relevant partners are now taken. In fact, we have been asked to go and showcase it globally. Is that not the success for this administration and government? BPP model of capacity building was adopted at the Forum of all African countries on public procurement, which I presented. Now is a model that is going to be championed across the world. That is certain things that we have been able to do quietly. We hope that you help us share this across the country. And nationwide, all academic, we have 6 centers.
There is one presidency and one president, and we all serve at his pleasure.
Exactly.
So it's my job to support you. It's my job to support the work you're doing, as long as you do the work that the president has appointed you to do. And that's it. Simple.
Yeah, simple. And we are glad. So we are partnering with universities, polytechnics, colleges of education to strengthen the ability to build capacity of those who want to learn procurement, with NUC as our coordinating body. So
it's a
very soon,
360-degree holistic program.
Holistic program. Soon you will be unleashing brand new procurement officers, retooling those that have been retrained and retrained, brand new people with new ideology and mentality. They will begin to perform, and you see the difference through these academic and professional trainings that we are offering them.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. When I thought we had ended the conversation, you brought out the shakabula. You know, and you just hit me with this. And I hope this continues for a very long time, and I wish you success in your role.
Thank you.
So there you have it, viewers. Procurement is where policy meets reality. Or rather, it determines whether roads are built, whether hospitals get equipped, whether you get the basic things that the Nigerian Constitution guarantees you as a citizen of this country, or even as a visitor to this country. You know, the schools getting materials they need, your teachers paid and everything. And BPP has a critical responsibility, you know, to ensure that public funds are used and spent effectively, transparently, and in a way that benefits each and every one of the 220 million plus Nigerians. Thank you once again, Mr. Director General, Dr. Adedokun Adebowale, for joining us on Unfiltered, the big interview. We will disturb you beyond now, and just as you're tracking agencies, we will also be on ground to track and follow through on the things that you're doing, because we also have a responsibility to Nigerians to show them what Mr. President is doing through offices such as yours and other MDAs. So thank you once again,
Thank you,
and God bless you.
And you too. Thank you very much.